Tonight, we invite you to drift into the tranquil world of the serene waters of Charybdis. This gentle tale eases you through the whispers of ancient mythology, unfolding the origins and transformation of Charybdis, a figure both mysterious and enchanting. As you listen, allow the soothing rhythm of the story to wash over you, guiding you alongside Charybdis on her journey and her eventual encounter with the adventurous Odysseus. Settle in, relax, and let your imagination sail through this gentle sea of wonder. And now, let the tale unfold. In the time of the mythic past, when heroes roamed and gods governed every corner of the cosmos, there existed a narrow strait where the waters were exceptionally calm. This tranquil setting, shrouded in a pale mist, both concealed and revealed the mysteries of the ocean. Here's where our story unfolds, amid swirling depths and quiet tides, where secrets of ancient origins would come to light. Charybdis, the offspring of two ancient powers, stood as a looming figure within this serene environment. She was the daughter of Poseidon, the majestic ruler of the seas, and Gaia, the nurturing and ancient spirit of the earth. Being such a significant progeny, Charybdis inherited the mysteries and might of both land and sea. Her existence was woven into the very fabric of oceanic cycles, a force both mysterious and powerful. Charybdis held a unique responsibility within her watery domain. Her duty was as vital as it was formidable. She was to create the mighty tides, guiding the rhythmic dance of the ocean. This task was more than mere function. It was an artful balance of nature's push and pull, one she wielded with wondrous ease. Yet, with her formidable prowess came an insatiable hunger, a drive to consume vast swathes of water and land alike, swallowing great expanses as part of her ceaseless work to renew the earth. Despite this immense hunger, Charybdis initially thrived in harmony with her surroundings. The ocean embraced her presence, and she reciprocated with the ebb and flow of tides. There was an elegance to her nature, a dance synchronized with the ocean's heartbeat, nourished by the environment that was, in turn, sustained by her actions. Through this balance, a symbiotic relationship flourished, connecting Charybdis' might to the very core of the world's natural cycles. In the backdrop of this dynamic equilibrium stood Poseidon and Gaia. Together, they represented the formidable forces of the universe that had given rise to Charybdis. Poseidon's majestic domain of the azure oceans complemented Gaia's nurturing embrace of the land. Their bond was manifested in their daughter, and in the early days, both gods watched over Charybdis with a blend of paternal pride and the faintest whisper of apprehension. They understood the boundless potential she carried and the magnitude of her duty. Yet, they were also aware of the fine line she trod between balance and escalation. Over time, Charybdis's nature began to hint at a perilous eventuality. Her voracious appetite and unrestrained extraction of the seas and lands began to paint her as a looming threat. The harmony she once embodied was gradually overshadowed by her unchecked desire to consume. Her actions, initially woven into the rhythmic cycles, started casting longer shadows over the balance she once cherished. Ominous whispers of change echoed through the waters, suggesting that this elegant dance was spiraling towards a fate yet unknown. Amidst this serene yet shifting landscape, the seeds of transformation were subtly sown. The divine same forces that had nurtured her birth were stirring, preparing to respond to the growing imbalance. The critical nexus of divine intervention loomed nearer, foreshadowing a change so profound that it would redefine Charybdis's very essence. Like the whisper of the first dark clouds on a distant horizon, this impending transformation was both inevitable and mysterious. Through calm waters and swirling tides, the serene narrative of Charybdis establishes its roots, inviting us to ponder the shifts of power, and the delicate threads binding nature to its overseers. Thus begins the tale of a daughter of gods, a tale of formidable force held in a tender embrace, of cycles as ancient as time itself. As the scene unfolds, the serene waters hint at the profound changes that the divine realm has yet to impose upon Charybdis. As the days lingered and the mythic past unfurled its secrets, Charybdis's presence in the narrow strait was felt more acutely than ever. Her powerful and mysterious nature, bequeathed by her divine parents, Poseidon and Gaia, became marked by an insatiable appetite. The seas, harmonious once, started to ripple with the voracious cycles of tides she orchestrated, swelling beyond their ordained boundaries. Her hunger to devour vast lands and oceans was not merely a duty. It was an unquenchable craving that knew no limits. Such shifts did not go unnoticed among the Olympians, who observed with growing unease. Zeus, the powerful and imposing god of the sky, especially felt the pull of concern over the disturbances Charybdis was creating. Her actions had begun altering the landscapes known to mortals and gods alike. The lands trembled under her influence, altering towns and coasts in a restless metamorphosis. The other gods whispered amongst themselves, wary of the consequences these changes might foretell. Poseidon, majestic in his oceanic throne, felt a protective love towards Charybdis. Despite the unsettling consequences of her actions, Poseidon saw only his daughter, her determination and mystery, traits embedded within her from his own essence. Fatherly pride gently mingled with a voice of caution, urging restraint. Yet Poseidon found it challenging to curb Charybdis' vigorous nature. He knew his intervention might anger his brother, Zeus, and sow discord among the gods, whose watchful eyes grew impatient. Zeus's patience, like a taut string drawn to its breaking point, began to unravel. The skybold dots representing stars dazzled upon this canvas, shrouding Olympus with an imposing aura. Zeus could not ignore the realm-disrupting shifts that Charybdis invoked. The time for intervention approached, with Zeus calling upon the gods to convene under the overcast sky of Olympus. A majestic assembly gathered, a place where clouds swirled ceaselessly and divine presence shone. Tensions mingled with the cool wind that whispered secrets and foretold decisions that could not be undone. Zeus addressed their concerns, highlighting the destructive potential lurking within Charybdis's unchecked hunger. This assemblage, though serene in demeanor, trembled slightly with foreboding. Divine whispers rippled like the tides Charybdis harbored within herself. Consensus emerged, acknowledging that such unfettered power needed divine handling, and a verdict was imminent. Poseidon's emotions churned akin to turbulent seas. The conflict within him mirrored the storm beside, embracing the waters but tugging him upward towards duty. He saw the potential for destruction in his cherished daughter, yet her metamorphosis struck him with an unrelenting ache, yearning for protection over punishment. Torn between familial bonds and the collective will, Poseidon's turmoil intensified. How could fatherly love and duty bear such a burden? Finally, the impending judgment closed its grip upon Olympus. The gods, having deliberated much, issued a divine decree that echoed through the cosmos, a transformation declared for Charybdis, a confinement into a form befitting her transgressions, yet embraced by the sea's natural order. This decision was not one of malice or vengeance, but a measured response to safeguard balance, much like the tide she once guided freely. As dusk descended upon majestic Olympus, the clouds above swirled with a renewed purpose, and a sense of acceptance tempered the air. Charybdis's fate lay sealed by a universal resolve, preparing her for the metamorphosis that awaited. This passage of Charybdis into a new existence drew nearer, an acceptance within chaos to welcome the transformation decreed by gods themselves. The tranquility soon to yield knew no tumult nor shock, only an embracing of the inevitable rhythm of change. All bends of destiny gently swayed, poised for tomorrow's dawn, when Charybdis would stand anew, under the cloudy cover of night, gathered upon the hallowed heights of Mount Olympus. The judgment for Charybdis was decreed. Zeus, with his imposing presence and eyes aflame with divine authority, pronounced the sentence that would alter Charybdis forever. No longer would she roam the seas with an insatiable hunger, unchecked and unfettered. Her burgeoning appetite that swallowed vast swathes of land daily could no longer be ignored. To restore the balance, she was to be transformed into a force of nature itself, a consequence wild and elemental. As Zeus's words echoed through the ethereal halls of Olympus, the transformation began. Charybdis felt the power coursing through her, not as a gift now, but as a command. Her formidable form, once the vessel of vibrant life and inexhaustible hunger, was now bending to divine will. Her essence expanded, unraveled, and reshaped, unfolding into a vast, swirling vortex. The sea itself seemed to gasp, feeling the pull of her transformation, and as she settled into her new shape, the very waters danced in chaos around her. Her body, once free and powerful, became a whirling maelstrom that drew everything into its depths. No longer a daughter with form and grace, but an unremitting force of nature. The winds carried her silent cries across the seas, a tapestry of sorrow woven through the night air. The loss of her previous existence weighed heavily on her now watery heart. This new form brought with it not just power, but a profound loss, a separation from her past life, once vibrant and full of purpose. Poseidon, mighty ruler of the seas and father to Charybdis, watched the ordeal from his oceanic domain. His heart bore the heavy burden of regret, acknowledging the necessity but wounded by the loss. He raised his trident high in a gesture of acceptance, reconciling himself to the will of the gods, a father's love sculpted into stoic duty. In his mind echoed the words of Zeus, the reminder of divine preservation that required sacrifice. Gaia, ancient and enduring, observed in silent vigil as her daughter transformed. Though her presence was unseen, it was felt by the whispering winds that carried and cradled Charybdis' new form. As a mother, her love remained unshaken, much like the earth she embodies. Recognizing the vast tapestry of nature, she understood transformation's necessity to maintain the equilibrium of life. Her heart mourned the change, but celebrated her daughter's resilience as a natural force. With Charybdis' transformation, the seas first caressed with chaos. Mighty ships that dared traverse her reach found themselves unwitting victims of her gnashing whirlpool. The tranquil straits she once knew now churned with relentless energy. The ocean, a tapestry woven through with tussling currents, slowly allowed her form to settle into its own rhythm. The storm of transformation waned, and what emerged was a new order, one that bore her mark, indelible and potent. This transformation reshaped the sea and sky, resonating with subtle acceptance. The tumult gave way to peace as the world recalibrated, absorbing her presence into its eternal dance. The seas, once in upheaval, found their symbiotic rhythm, harmonizing with the great whirlpool. Charybdis, now an embodiment of the sea's unpredictable temperament, was etched into the annals of myth as a guardian, and a test for those daring enough to navigate her waters. In this acceptance, the surrounding waters embraced her as part of their own. Sailors grew to respect the fearsome force as a pivotal feature of their maritime journeys, a symbol of nature's dominance and the need for humility before it. Charybdis became a story whispered in taverns and around campfires, an eternal lesson of respect and reverence for the sea. Through her transformation, the myths teach that change, although daunting, can ultimately weave itself into the natural fabric, aligning with both balance and chaos. As night settled over the narrow strait, the swirling waters whispered a new tale, one of acceptance and order, awaiting the sun's gentle caress to herald a new dawn. In the mythic expanse of the narrow strait, the mighty Charybdis lay dormant beneath the sunlit waters. Her presence was often marked by a serene expanse of ocean, giving little hint of the tumultuous force she could become. Sailors who ventured into this seeming tranquility felt as though they were traversing sacred waters, whispered tales flowing among them about the legend of the whirlpool. The sea's surface mirrored the sky, a perfect blend of blues and silvers, masking the sleeping power beneath. The ships that passed during Charybdis's dormancy moved with a cautious reverence, the mariners knowing full well the legend that lay below. She embodied the paradox of the sea, a gentle lull that could at any moment transform into a fearsome, devouring force. The sailors remained in quiet awe, often sharing stories of her wrath as night set in, their voices carrying softly over the vast sea. Yet in this respectful silence, Charybdis loomed large in their minds as both a guardian and a peril, a testament to the unpredictable nature of the ocean. Then, as if answering a silent call, the shift would begin. A sudden and subtle stirring of waters hinted at the mighty Charybdis awakening. From calm and placid, her domain would transition into a churning maelstrom as her enormous appetite reignited. The whirlpool would grow with an ominous grace, pulling the surrounding waters into its depths with an undeniable strength. Such was the swiftness and power of Charybdis's awakening that it left many a sailor breathless, their respect morphing into palpable fear. The rumbling pull of the whirlpool reverberated through the hulls of passing ships, a testament to the transpiring forces of nature's will. The crews would rally together, their eyes wide with a mixture of dread and admiration, as the sea turned from calm expanses to tumultuous vortexes. They spoke of Charybdis's grand cycles, not just in horror, but with a deep respect for an entity that could embody such duality. The very nature of their tales became a part of maritime lore, passed down from one seafarer to the next, with each harrowing tale of survival. In this enthralling narrative of power, Charybdis came to symbolize the dualistic essence of the ocean itself. Her being was a natural embodiment of transformation, from the placid beauty of a still sea to the raging fury of a whirlpool. Charybdis' existence, although marked by punishment, was one that contributed to the broader order of the ocean's design. Her cycles mirrored the sea's own rhythms, unpredictable, volatile, but also deeply intertwined with the world it nurtures and challenges. Each account of encountering Charybdis became a chapter in the lore of sailors, transcending generations. These tales informed seafaring communities not only of the dangers lurking in the narrow strait, but also of the profound mysteries and powers of the sea. Sailors approached the story of Charybdis with a sense of reverence, and their lives were shaped by the understanding that the seas held forces beyond their control, ones to be honored as a vital part of their world. And so, within her cyclical transformations, Charybdis herself became a serene and chaotic force, at one with the sea she resided in. Her myth endured, a story not merely of punishment, but of harmony found within the ever-shifting tides. It was a reminder to sailors and listeners alike of the indomitable connection between peace and chaos, tranquility and tempest. Though born of divine rebuke, her presence now witnessed a legacy forged in the hearts and tales of those who braved the waters. As dawn broke over the strait, Charybdis would once more settle into her calm state, the light of the new day caressing the placid waves. Here, at the beginning of her cyclical journey, she embodied the tranquil sea before the next storm. The sailors, coasting upon her returning calm, would continue their voyages, their hearts at ease for now, yet mindful of the lessons of the sea. Resting silently beneath, Charybdis awaited the moments when she would rise again, a majestic whirlpool, a guardian and a challenge. In the mind of every sailor, she occupied a space of simultaneous fear and admiration, a reflection of the voyage they all must navigate with respect and understanding. With her calmly presiding over the strait, the stage was set for other legends and heroes to face her, like the cunning Odysseus whose journey now loomed near. In the dim glow of the morning, as soft hues of gray and blue kissed the horizon, Odysseus and his brave crew sailed progressively closer to the daunting narrow strait. This legendary passage was where Charybdis, the enigmatic force of nature, lay dormant beneath tranquil waters. For days on end, the famed hero had steered his ship across the vast ocean, led by duty and driven by the whispers of home. Each stroke of their oars brought Odysseus and his men closer to a challenge that many had faced, yet few had bested. In hushed tones, tales of Charybdis had reached Odysseus's ears from fellow mariners and stargazers alike. They spoke of her vengeful hunger, swallowing sea and land alike, transforming serene waters into a towering vortex. His trusted circle had painted her as both a guardian and peril, an embodiment of the sea's most contradictory nature. Driven not by fear but by wisdom, Odysseus had gathered tales of past encounters, compiling a strategy for what lay ahead. He respected her power, knowing that underestimating it could mean a swift and calamitous end. Odysseus meticulously crafted a plan, considering each movement and ripple of the sea as they edged nearer. His goal was clear: to navigate the treacherous waters with precision, crafting an approach that balanced boldness with caution. He instructed his crew with a calm yet firm resolve, ensuring each man knew his task. Each breath they took was an intake of shared courage, as they mentally rehearsed their roles in this dance with destiny. They would rely on their years of seafaring experience and the helm of their leader's well-tested judgment. The air was thick with a quiet tension as Odysseus moved among his men, peering into the faces that matched the reflections of his own determination. It was as if the sea itself paused in anticipation, understanding the significance of the trial they were about to face. Each sailor, standing steadfast at their post, held their breath. It was a breath that carried the weight of past victories and the hopes of the days that awaited beyond the strait. As they drew near, the once distant murmur of Charybdis became more distinct, hinting at the hidden strength beneath her calm exterior. It was a sight both mesmerizing and daunting, a paradox wrapped in beauty. Her swirling depths seemed deceptively serene, a mirror reflecting the vastness of the sky above. Yet, Odysseus knew the truth. The tranquil surface masked a power that could surge with sudden might. To shore up his courage, Odysseus reminded himself of his unwavering spirit, a spirit that had triumphed over the Cyclops and weathered the wrath of multiple deities. He revisited these victories in the theater of his mind, drawing strength from the looming mountains of challenges already behind him. With these memories fresh in his heart, he prepared himself for the most formidable task yet, his resolve as solid as the oak bow of his ship. The crew moved with a practiced grace, their bodies in harmony with the gentle rise and fall of the sea, their minds steeled for the storm beneath. They checked the sails, secured the ropes, and mentally braced for the unknowns that lay ahead. The air crackled with a silent anticipation, each man knowing his part in the battle to come, but also knowing the worst could be upon them at any moment. Tension hovered over the men as their vessel edged into the narrow throat of the strait. The tranquil waters gave nothing away of the turmoil lying below, prefacing the tempest that the whirlpool could quickly become. Their hearts pounded like the steady beat of war drums, a rhythm synchronizing their resolve. With measured breaths and synchronized efforts, they held their course, steadily afloat on the strength of their unity and the guidance of Odysseus. And so, under the overcast sky, framed by hues of silver and blue, they embarked upon their legendary trial. A narrative of caution, courage, and comradeship was soon to unfold, with Charybdis serving as both the backdrop and the central figure of their impending ordeal. Odysseus, eyes firmly fixed on the horizon, stood resolute at the helm, steering his crew towards fate and destiny intertwined. The sea was calm yet expectant, as if holding its breath in anticipation of what was to come. The gentle turbulence began to stir beneath the surface, signaling the awakening of Charybdis, the great whirlpool. Her transformation from dormant waters to a powerful maelstrom was a sight to behold. Slowly, the serene surface was replaced by a swirling vortex, its pull growing more insistent with each passing moment. The once still waters now danced with energy, announcing the presence of a force both ancient and formidable. Odysseus, ever vigilant, sensed the shift in the atmosphere. He stood resolute at the helm of his ship, his eyes fixed on the treacherous waters ahead. His crew, seasoned yet apprehensive, watched in a mixture of awe and fear as the whirlpool continued to reveal its power. The sounds of the ocean intensified, a symphony of waves and wind that threatened to overwhelm the senses. But amid the chaos, there was a strange grace, a rhythm to Charybdis's movement that seemed almost hypnotic. As the ship inched closer, Odysseus' grip on the ship's steering oar tightened. His mind, sharp and calculating, began to assess the situation with precision. He knew that the key to surviving this encounter lay in timing and skill. The peril grew as the ship was pulled towards the center of Charybdis, the heart of the maelstrom beckoning ominously. The swirling force of the waters tugged at the vessel, threatening to draw it into the depths, forever lost to the sea. In this moment of crisis, Odysseus's leadership shone brightest. He called upon his cunning, guiding the ship with deft maneuvers that spoke of his experience and resolve. His mind was a flurry of calculations, gauging the distance, the current, and the ever-changing swirl of the whirlpool. The crew, though fear gripped their hearts, responded to Odysseus' commands with faith, their trust in their captain driving their every move. The struggle to maintain control was an intense dance with destiny. The ship heaved against the force of the water, its structure groaning under the strain. Yet, Odysseus did not waver. He watched Charybdis keenly, noting the patterns in her turbulent dance. With each turn of the wheel, he calculated the precise moment when the whirlpool's grip would lessen, offering them a narrow window to escape its clutches. As if guided by the gods themselves, Odysseus found the opportune moment. With a skillful pull of the oar, he directed the ship with a nimble turn, timing their passage with perfect precision. The ship tilted dangerously as it skirted the edges of the maelstrom, the swirling waters reaching out as if to ensnare them in a final embrace. Yet, through Odysseus' unwavering skill and the crew's steadfast courage, they emerged triumphant, carried forth on the returning waves. The moment of relief was palpable as they sailed past Charybdis, the ship swaying gently as it distanced itself from the tumultuous waters. Caught in the splendor of their escape, the crew let out a collective breath, their hearts slowly easing from the tight grip of fear. Odysseus, ever humble yet visibly relieved, acknowledged the narrowness of their escape. Yet, his eyes shone with the quiet satisfaction of a leader who had once again outwitted fate. Having successfully navigated the peril of Charybdis, the crew felt a renewed vigor, their spirits lifted by the triumph over the formidable sea creature. As they pressed onward, leaving the whirlpool behind, there was a sense of accomplishment tempered with humility. They had met one of the great trials of the sea and emerged stronger for it. As the ship crested the final wave, leaving the swirling chaos of Charybdis behind, a profound stillness enveloped the scene. The maelstrom's roar faded into the distance, replaced by the gentle lapping of waves kissing the ship's hull. Relief washed over the crew as they steadied their breaths, the persistent tension unwinding from their bodies like a tightly coiled spring finally released. The sun peeked through the lifting clouds, casting a soft silver light across the endless span of blue, marking the return to tranquility. Exhaustion weighed heavily on their shoulders, yet it was a comforting fatigue born out of survival. Each man slumped slightly, grateful to the sturdy planks beneath their feet and the promise of life that had once seemed tenuous at best. The men exchanged weary smiles, their silent gratitude shared in knowing glances that spoke more eloquently than words ever could. Trepidation dissolved into a collective sigh of relief that rippled across the deck, reminding them of the simple joy found on the other side of peril. Odysseus, while not untouched by the fatigue that gripped his men, carried an expression of thoughtful reflection as he adjusted the helm. The encounter with Charybdis had been nothing short of a trial by nature's most formidable creation, and the lessons were etched firmly into his consciousness. He recalled the countless challenges he had faced on his journey, each fraught with its own brand of danger yet offering wisdom as its most enduring trophy. With a quiet resolve, Odysseus vowed to carry these lessons forward, a navigational chart set alongside the stars that guided their course. Recognizing the weariness in his men, Odysseus began to recount the stories of challenges met and conquered. Tales of their shared voyage came to life in the rhythm of his voice, painting images of past feats against mighty cyclopes and cunning enchantresses. His words were like a steady drumbeat, invoking a sense of pride and camaraderie, bolstering their spirits with memories of guts and grit. With each tale, the crew felt their resilience solidify, a fortress built upon a foundation of courage and unity. In quiet moments of their reflections, a newfound respect for Charybdis settled among the crew. No longer was she merely a sea demon to be feared. She became a symbol of the sea's vast power and unpredictable nature, respected in its rightful domain. The swirling tempest they had faced was not an enemy vanquished, but rather a force overcome with skill and perseverance. The men understood the sea demanded respect, one that was as vast as its depths and as eternal as its tides. The experience had crystallized Odysseus's leadership, illuminating the delicate balance between caution and daring necessary to navigate not only the literal seas, but the journey life itself presented. His cunning and ability to read both map and man were reaffirmed with each trial, solidifying his role not as just captain of the vessel, but as a beacon of wisdom and hope for those who followed him. The storm-water-washed deck was now a testament to their ability to endure and to the unyielding spirit of humanity. As the ship sailed smoothly on calming waters, Odysseus found his thoughts drifting back to the duality he had witnessed in Charybdis. The whirlpool's serene pull masking chaos within reminded him of life's own unpredictable currents, sometimes calm, sometimes turbulent, yet forever part of the overarching tapestry of existence. This reflection served as both a lesson and a map, guiding him through the emotional and physical landscapes ahead. With the sea now stretching out gently before them, the crew began to prepare for the inevitable challenges the horizon promised. Supplies were checked, sails adjusted, and hands readily took to their duties, invigorated by the clarity born of survival. The daunting trial of the whirlpool had imbued them with a sense of peace and gratitude, equipping them with a fresh resolve to face whatever trials destiny still held in store. As they continued their journey, the memory of Charybdis remained, a reminder of both nature's fury and beauty, echoing in their hearts with each new wave. The mythic past wove itself into the fabric of their present, grounding them with wisdom while propelling them onward toward tales yet untold. A quiet evening descended upon the narrow strait, where Charybdis lay in her enduring form. The tales of Charybdis' formidable nature had spread far and wide among sailors. Her twirling waters became part of the lore passed down from generation to generation. Sailors gathered around fires in the evening, recounting stories of her might and how mightier vessels had once struggled against her pull. Through whispers and songs, Charybdis transformed from a mere geographical hazard into a symbol, a force of the sea to be respected and feared. These stories painted a picture of Charybdis as an embodiment of the ocean's fury and its gentle embrace. Sailors spoke of how they had seen her calm state from afar, her surface nearly indistinguishable from the peaceful sea, only to shift rapidly into a whirling maelstrom that could consume all in its path. This duality fascinated mariners, for Charybdis was not just a threat. They viewed her as a majestic entity guiding their travels, reminding them of the ocean's capriciousness and maintaining their respect for the waters that both provided and took away. As these legends wove themselves through maritime culture, the gods continued their watch over Charybdis. Poseidon, her father, observed her with a mixture of pride and wistfulness. He understood that Charybdis played a vital role in the ocean's ecosystem. Zeus, who had condemned her to her whirlpool form, remained observant, ensuring the balance intended by his powerful decree. Charybdis's presence served as a constant reminder of the divine touch inherent in everyday life, a marker of respect between gods and mortals. The influence of Charybdis stretched beyond tales. She became an integral part of the maritime beliefs held by those who ventured across the wide waters. Her cycles inspired rituals and prayers among sailors before embarking on their journeys. They saw her as a guardian of sorts, one to be appeased through offerings and careful navigation. This reverence strengthened the connection between seafarers and the enigmatic sea, fostering a bond of trust and caution towards the immense expanse around them. Yet amidst her perpetual spinning waters lay a serenity that sailors could not ignore. Though her force commanded respect, the perpetual cycle of Charybdis was strangely comforting. There was an unchanging rhythm in her transformations, a pattern soothing in its predictability yet edged with the wild potential of the unknown. In this harmonious existence, Charybdis became more than her legend. She embodied the cycles of nature on which all life depended, illustrating an ancient wisdom present in the eternal dance of ocean currents. Across the seafaring world, Charybdis achieved mythic status, her story told in distant lands far from the narrow strait. Fishermen on foreign shores spoke of her as a ghostly force, echoing stories that had traveled with wandering sailors. In this way, Charybdis solidified her place among formidable oceanic forces, her legend growing with each retelling, each voyage braved by daring adventurers. She stood alongside other mythical challenges, a reminder that gods and the sea reigned supreme over mortal follies. Her embodiment as a powerful force in this maritime pantheon ensured that she would not be forgotten, eternally churning beneath the twin gaze of Poseidon and Zeus. With each passage of a ship by her watery realm, both the legacy of her legend and her place in the shared human consciousness grew. Thus, Charybdis continued to wind through the hearts and minds of sailors and storytellers alike, her tale resonating far beyond her distant horizons. The horizon stretched vast as Charybdis swirled on, her strength unyielding against the receding light. Her calm presence belied the fierce currents beneath, whispering tales of old and continuing her role as a formidable guardian of the seas. The timeless myths would endure, shaping new generations and reminding all of the might and mystery that lay within the ocean's depths. In the timeless night, Gaia's ancient eyes overlooked the narrow strait, where the serene waters held stories whispered by the stars. Her gaze, as old as the earth itself, had seen epochs come and go. She was the nurturing force that cradled the world, yet now she observed the ocean's current with a sense of calm watchfulness, for somewhere within these waters dwelled her daughter, Charybdis, transformed yet cherished. Despite the punishment that had befallen her child, Gaia's presence remained ever nurturing, a silent testament to the unending bond between mother and daughter. Though condemned by the decree of Zeus, Charybdis's role had evolved into one of stunning might. Gaia understood this transformation as part of the natural order, recognizing the majesty in her daughter's new existence as a force of nature, rather than a source of chaos. Gaia's acceptance of Charybdis' role within the ocean spoke to a deeper wisdom, one that embraced the eternal cycles of life, and transformation. She saw Charybdis not merely as a whirlpool, but as a vital component in the balance of sea and sky, where the tides followed their ancient rhythm, orchestrated by cosmic forces beyond mortal comprehension. Through this understanding, Gaia found peace, knowing each part of the world had its place in the grand tapestry of creation. As she overlooked the waters, Gaia's thoughts drifted to memories of Charybdis's origins, those moments when the sea sang softly to the breeze, and her daughter danced with the waves. Charybdis once rambled with the tides, a vibrant essence filled with curiosity and vigor. Recollections of her early life warmed Gaia's heart, stoking a gentle flame of pride and longing for those simpler times when her power was unshackled yet innocent. Amidst the nighttime silence, Gaia reached towards her daughter with silent, timeless communication. It was a connection not defined by words or actions but by the shared essence of the earth and sky. The whispers of the waves and the rustle of the leaves spoke their gentle conversation. She reassured Charybdis of her love, a reminder that despite transformation, the core of who she was remained unchanged, eternally loved by her mother. Reflecting upon the cycles of transformation in Charybdis' existence, Gaia pondered the nature of change that touched all beings, divine or mortal. Her daughter's journey from a lively spirit of the tides to a formidable maelstrom resonated with the shifting seasons and the turning of the celestial spheres. Each phase of Charybdis' transformation was a testament to resilience and unyielding strength, embodying the perpetual dance of continuity and renewal. Ever hopeful, Gaia nurtured a silent wish that Charybdis would find her own understanding and acceptance. She hoped her daughter would see the beauty in her role, the vital task she performed, swallowing the sea and releasing it anew, part of the grand cycle that sustained life. It was a process both destructive and creative, which emphasized harmony within the chaos. As the stars twinkled overhead, Gaia's watchful eyes softened over the calm expanse. Her enduring gaze held a promise that transcended time. She would always watch over her daughter, guiding her through the ages. Gaia's vigil was a testament to the endless love she had for Charybdis, biding her time until they could reunite in understanding of the part they played in the universe's great design. The night wore on with its usual stillness, but the eternal bond between mother and daughter remained steadfast. Gaia's presence illuminated the waters in a gentle, nurturing glow, a beacon of the enduring love that has no beginning nor end. As the sea continued its soft, rhythmic motion, confidences shared only between a mother cradling the world and a daughter, embracing her role within it, brought comfort to the night. Thus, the serene waters of Charybdis bore testimony to an ancient watch, a memory woven into the fabric of the earth and sky, where mother and daughter found peace in the heart of the ocean's eternal embrace. In the depths of the ocean, far removed from the bustling storms above, Poseidon sat on his coral throne. His eyes, reminiscent of the deep blue seas, gazed out towards the whirlpool that was once his daughter, Charybdis. The waters around him shimmered with a tranquil silver hue, reflecting the calm yet conflicted heart of the mighty sea god. As the ruler of all oceans, Poseidon bore the weight of countless seas across his broad shoulders, yet the most elusive burden was that of a father's remorse and longing. This day, as most days, Poseidon found himself wrestling with the same recurring thoughts. Zeus, his powerful brother, had made the decree that changed Charybdis' fate forever. Though he knew the reasons behind the decision, her insatiable appetite for lands led to imbalance. Poseidon struggled with the severity of her punishment. In this introspective calm, Poseidon revisited the arguments spoken in the halls of Olympus, replaying the divine edict that sentenced his beloved child to her current form. In those quiet moments, Poseidon would converse in gentle whispers to the swirling waters all around. He attempted to console Charybdis, reaching out with his divine aura, hoping she might sense his regret and remorse. While words could not traverse the tumultuous currents between them, Poseidon's paternal longing transcended mere language, expressing a depth of emotion he could never fully communicate to his changed daughter. With each attempt, he hoped she would recognize the love that lingered despite her transformation. Memories of Charybdis's early power flickered across Poseidon's mind like the sunlight dancing on the ocean's surface. He saw her laughter in the playful tides she once commanded, and the potential that flowed within her like a mighty river. She had been a force of nature, mirroring the ocean's vast capabilities. Her presence had been formidable, unquestionably drawn from both mother and father. Poseidon reminisced on the times she tamed the seas with elegance, before the unrestrained hunger, bred from her divine lineage, took over. Such memories, filled with warmth and pride, gradually gave way to reflections on the true nature of power and consequence. Poseidon understood that with great power came great responsibility, a lesson harshly imparted through the heavens' decree. It was the complex interplay of nature's rhythms and divine decree that determined not just the fate of one, but the balance of the oceans themselves. In the weight of this truth, Poseidon found a reluctant yet necessary acceptance that painful transformation often accompanied the cycles of life and nature. Yet even with acceptance, Poseidon could not wholly dismiss his desire for redemption. Within the swirling chaos that had become Charybdis, Poseidon glimpsed the possibility of change, however distant it might be. He nurtured a hope that, in time, the forces that ruled her turbulent form might evolve. Perhaps one day Charybdis could find her peace, her balance restored as a tender harmony between hunger and restraint. Faced with the everyday cycle of the tides and the relentless ebb and flow of time, Poseidon, in his vast underwater realm, nurtured these hopes and dreams in his heart. He envisaged a future where understanding and forgiveness might be possible, where Charybdis' nature as a vital player in the ocean's grand design would be realized and celebrated rather than feared. As the last waves of sunlight dwindled below the horizon, giving way to the boundless sea of stars above, not all was lost. Poseidon contemplated the enduring role Charybdis played, a crucial cog in the larger cosmic machinery that steered the winds and waters. Through these meditative reflections, Poseidon began to see not only the burden, but the blessing in her eternal dance. For, in her swirling embrace, Charybdis held the delicate balance of the ocean's tempestuous nature, a reminder of what had been lost and what might yet be attained. Poseidon's heart echoed with the ocean's hypnotic pull, a pulsing reminder of the eternal bond between father and daughter. With a soul tempered by acceptance and hope, Poseidon allowed himself a moment of silent prayer beneath the endless waters, dreaming of a time when Charybdis might once more see with clarity her rightful place amidst the sea's majestic expanse. As twilight descended over the narrow strait, the swirling waters of Charybdis continued their eternal dance. These waters, mysterious and vast, had witnessed countless journeys, transformations, and stories that wove through the fabric of myth and memory. In this cycle, the persistent motion of the sea mirrored the ever-shifting nature of Charybdis herself, a being transformed by divine decree, bound to these depths but eternally alive in the tales of those who ventured near. In the world of myth, tales of transformation are woven tightly with the threads of destiny and consequence. Consider the story of Charybdis, once a daughter of Poseidon and Gaia, whose voracious appetite led to her fateful metamorphosis into a mighty whirlpool. Her tale stands as a testament to the power and unpredictability of the divine, a reminder of how the whims of gods could eternally alter the course of a mortal life. Transformation in myth is rarely without cost, and for Charybdis, the price was her own freedom and form. Each swirl and pull of Charybdis's waters echoes with the power and consequences of choices made long ago. Zeus, with a solemnity befitting his station, had pronounced her punishment, setting in motion the changes that reshaped the strait and its lore. This decision was not solely an act of retribution, but a measure to restore balance in the world of men and immortals. Charybdis' transformation was an echo of a lesson whispered through time. The unchecked strength and desire must be tempered with wisdom and restraint. The ripples of each character's actions resonate deeply through the myth's timeline. Poseidon, conflicted yet understanding, continues his watching from the ocean depths. Gaia feels the eternal bond that time, and change cannot sever. And Odysseus, a mere mortal, navigates the waters of Charybdis with determination and insight, embodying the resilience of humanity in the face of divine trials. Each soul leaves an imprint, a wave that pushes forward the story of Charybdis, a story that hardships shape into wisdom and legends. In Charybdis, the delicate balance between calm and chaos is intensely personified as she drifts between a dormant pond and a formidable vortex. This duality is not merely a facet of her own nature, but echoes the greater truth of existence itself, the serenity that can cradle tumultuous change. For sailors, her cycles dictate whether their voyage will be peaceful or perilous, a roll of fortune dictated by ancient forces beyond their grasp. As the waters continue their restless yet harmonious dance, the transient nature of forms juxtaposes their enduring essence. Charybdis' presence stands as a reminder of this paradox. The form she once took had faded, yet her true essence remains woven into the sea's perpetual motion. Here, within her treacherous embrace, lies the heart of the myth. Change is constant, yet certain truths endure beyond the flicker of any storm. Across the vast distances of time and space, stories of Charybdis echo the themes seen in tales the world over. From whispered warnings among sailors to poetic depictions in epic tradition, her myth captures the awe of nature's raw power. The tales held various shapes, lessons in humility, challenges to be braved by heroes, and symbols of the indomitable will of nature. In every telling, Charybdis is both feared and revered, a testament to the narrative power of the ocean's mysteries. Yet, amidst the swirling waters and legends told, a tranquility settles into the heart of chaos. To embrace Charybdis saga is to understand that transformation is a journey, a return to balance after tumbling through disorder. Through this lens, her myth offers a gentle conclusion, accepting the peace that lies within understanding her tale. As the mist rises over the horizon, so too do the echoes of transformation rise with it, whispering softly into the night. In the mythic waters of the narrow strait, the legend of Charybdis lives on, forever etching its rhythm into the stories shared across the world. The cycle of her constant transformation, a dance that sinks into the heart of myth, continues uninterrupted, underscoring the eternal flow of tides she governs. Known as both guardian and challenger of the sea, Charybdis embodies the duality that so many find in nature, steadfast yet unpredictable. These tales of Charybdis are woven into the very fabric of the vast ocean's mysterious expanse, enduring through whispered legends passed from sailor to sailor. As ships chart their paths over the waves, the myth serves as a reminder of both the wonder and the perils that lie beneath the familiar seas. These stories, carried on the breath of the winds and the whispers of the waves, speak to the eternal unknown that every mariner faces. Charybdis' role in these stories shifts as effortlessly as the tides, her presence a formidable force to be revered. As sailors draw near, they pay homage to the swirling whirlpool, a symbol of the ocean's power that can calm the humblest heart or strike fear into the boldest soul. Her simultaneous embodiment of calm serenity and unpredictable might serve as a metaphor for the sea's dual nature, teaching respect for what lies unseen. The ancient myths endure not only through spoken word, but through song, etched in poetry and music, that recount the tales of bravery and caution. Sailors return to their homes, their voices carrying tales of the narrow straits where Charybdis resides. The cadences of their words mirror the gentle ripples and thunderous crashes of the sea itself. Each recounting perpetuates Charybdis's presence, her legend as eternal as the ocean she rules. Over time, the myths reflect a deeper understanding, a tranquil acceptance of Charybdis' place within the larger order. Within her vast maelstrom lies an acceptance that not all forces are to be subdued or conquered, but rather embraced for their wisdom. Her nature as both a guardian and threat highlights the lessons of balance, offering a serene yet profound insight into existence itself. Charybdis's influence extends well beyond the realms of myth, into the realms of human culture and maritime tradition. The echoes of her story are found in the rituals sailors observe before voyages, in prayers whispered against a vast dawn sea, and in the navigational tales shared amongst mariners at port. Charybdis becomes not just a figure of fear, but a guardian spirit, guiding those who dare to enter her waters with respect. The serenity Charybdis teaches is not one of complacency, but of harmony amid the chaos. It is a peace founded on understanding one's place in the world and the equilibrium that nature demands. The legends reveal that facing Charybdis is like facing the turbulent trials of life, where the key lies not in conquering chaos, but in finding peace within it. As the stories of Charybdis are lovingly told and retold, her legacy remains, a part of the serene and reflective nightly heavens guiding sailors by stars, under which their voices blend with the whisper of waves. Her myth is embraced for what it is, a calming legacy amidst the tempests of tales, enriching lives with its enduring truth. The peaceful rhythm of the sea continues as Charybdis' tale finds its place in the collective memory, unfurling dreams among the waves. So may the listeners drift into slumber, guided by the tranquil understanding of serenity within and beyond the chaos.